President Muhammadu Buhari has made history yet again. Yes.
Viva la Presidente.
Welcome to episode 18 of Reactions. My name is Mr. Sao. Joining me today,
Mr. Houston.
Nwachukwu. Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah,
How are you doing?
You're excited today, Abby?
Oh, yes, I'm super excited.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
I'm doing great. Mr. Oqua could not join us today. He's not feeling too well, and today's his birthday. So happy birthday, Henry.
Happy birthday, Henry.
And please get well soon.
Get well soon. We hope you recuperate real quick.
Before we begin to react today, so please subscribe to Page 36 TV on YouTube. Like this video, share, like our old videos, share them as well, and comment as well. We'd love to hear from you guys. So let's just get straight to the week that was. Very interesting week, I must say.
Talk to me.
Yeah. What's the first thing we're talking about today? So first of all, we're just going to be looking at this Southern's Governors Forum saga. So I've picked some specific issues that rose up from their communique on Monday.
Okay.
That set the North on fire.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just going to run through all those, then we'll just react to them. So the Southern States Governors under the Southern Governors Forum on Monday held a meeting in Lagos, hosted by the Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. At the end of the meeting, the chairman of the forum, Governor Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State, issued a communique on the resolutions made by the governors. So, rising from the meeting, the forum agreed. So, these are the main ones. I'm just going to read the first issue and react to this one right now. So, the forum reiterates, in quote, its commitment to the politics of equity and fairness, and unanimously agrees that the presidency of Nigeria be rotated between southern and northern Nigeria, and resolved that the next president of Nigeria should emerge from the southern region. So this was the first. Was this the biggest? Well, I said this was the biggest controversy from the resolution. So, reacting to this on Monday night on Channels Television's Politics Today, the national chairman of the Action Democratic Party, Sani Yabaji, had this to say. So, I'm going to insert the audio clip of what Mr. Sani Yabaji had to say, and when we come back, we'll continue.
I think the coming together of the governors of the Southern extraction, to me, believe you me, is the very wrong way to go about issues of politics that affects the whole nation. Because the message here, unfortunately, is like ganging up against the rest of the Nigerians, particularly the North, by state actors who should be the ones that will protect and advance the unity of this country and ensure that all the parts of this country will feel comfortable by whoever end of the day will emerge as the president of this country. But if you go the way you are going and you have all the things listed in the communique or in their meeting, it seems to be a kind of ganging up against the North. When you look at the grazing, you look at the insecurity, you look at the issue of politics 2023, how can we have elected officials, governors for that matter, coming out in this manner to emphasize things that divide us, not talking about things that unite the country? I mean, it beats my imagination. It is unfortunate that we don't have governors today coming together on issues of principle, that maybe that we are progressives, or we want a progressive government in this country, or we belong to a particular ideological leaning, and therefore we want to entrench that kind of politics in the country. But what we are hearing is that it's like these governors are not anything better than Igboho or Kanu or any person that is not elected to protect the nation. So I'm disappointed, really, to say the least, because by now we shouldn't be talking about these dichotomies that have nothing to do with good governance. You talk about North, you talk about religion, you talk about where you come from, and you are talking about fairness. I think we are getting it wrong. And the earlier these governors wake up to their responsibilities of ensuring that this country becomes stronger as one indissoluble, and one united country, the better for everybody. The way they are going will even kind of scare the North. And the North, don't forget that the North, in fact, controls, the largest chunk of the vote that you want to use to become the president of this country. Except if they are talking about president of Southern Nigeria, not the president of Nigeria. You must act in a way that somebody can entrust his future, his affairs in your hands. But the way these Southerners, the governors in particular, are going, is not in any way in tandem with the intention of the founding fathers of this country. And if you look at what I think most of Nigerians, particularly the Northerners, will take from this, is that we are out against you, and we want to make sure that we will retaliate, whatever you have been doing to us, which perhaps, nobody in the North really intends anything bad, for the country. In fact, insecurity they are talking about, who is the worst, who is suffering, the worst scenario of insecurity in this country? It is the North. Who is suffering the worst case of poverty? It is the North. Who is suffering the worst case of unemployment? It is the North. So what for God's sake are you saying in that case? So please, let us behave as responsible state actors that are elected on the basis of advancing the unity of this country, not on the basis of dividing this country between the South and North. So 23 years, everybody knows that. In fact, Sean, when you talk about fairness, and you look at the zones, North Central, where I come from, has not been given chance in this country to head the country in a civilian administration. All we have had, maybe from North Central, and everybody has had it, is a military junta. And the military junta are just people who they don't even consult anybody. All right. Before they emerge. Yeah. So don't talk about fairness. When you talk about fairness, North Central should be given the opportunity to rule this country come 2023.
So also reacting, the spokesman of the Northern Elders Forum, Hakeem Baba Ahmed, on Wednesday said the following. So this is what he said in terms of the Southern state governors zoning the presidency in 2023 to the South. So he said, you read in between the lines of their well-crafted communique that says that they want basically a Southern presidency. It is not wrong. That means the North needs to yield the presidency to the southern part of the country. There is nothing wrong with that. So he goes on to say that the problem is the manner it is being pursued. It is likely to cause more problem for them than resolve the problem. All right, so that's the first issue we're going to be looking at right now. So the zoning of the presidency, or the agreement by the Southern States governors to zone the presidency in 2023 to their region. And the Northerners coming out right now, you heard what Mr. Agbaji had to say. He called it a gang up against the North, and they talked about the manner in which they all complain about the manner, and we've watched this video, we read the communique. I don't know, what do you think about the manner in which this communique was presented? Do you think there was anything wrong with that? And what do you think about the reactions from these two Northerners, Northern group and this Northerner right now to the communique?
Firstly, I'd like to commend the Southern governors, because I think this is long overdue. For the first time, I'll say, I really like how I'm impressed with this set of Southern governors and how they come together. Apparently, when they come together as Southern governors, that's when they are a lot more sense making. Because when we have Eastern Governors Forum and Southwestern Governors Forum and Southern Governors Forum, they never come up with any, groundbreaking resolution. But somehow when they come together as Southern governors, because the North have been doing this for quite some time now. We've always had the Northern governors say this, Northern governors say that, and no one has ever accused them of ganging up. So, for the first time, the Southern governors are talking, and from the look of things, I think, the Northers, they're a bit, they come off similarly petrified, like a little bit scared. I don't know why, because whenever the Southern governors converge, I don't know, it's like the Northern governors catch cold because it becomes a national issue. It becomes such a big thing. We've had governors, Northern Governors Forum sit over several issues, and they've always come up with their own resolutions. And I've never seen any opposition amongst them. They all unite when they do their things. But when the Southern governors come together, in fact, before they even make their resolution, there's already a problem. There's already tension rising in the North. And I don't know, it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be like that. So I like the fact, I've always said that we're going to have a progressive Nigeria if Nigeria goes from state level to, a proper dichotomy where we have like the northern and the southern region. I don't know this southeast, all these things are just to divide the people. Northern region, southern region. That way people will be able to communicate their opinions and what they want, and things will be dealt with properly. So I like what is going on right now, because that's exactly what is going to boil down to at the end of the day. Secondly, them coming to say, I think it's the obvious they were just stating, them coming to say they want a presidency. I don't know why they even had to state it, but it's good at least they stated their claim, because it's not tomorrow somebody will say, you didn't say this, you didn't say that. At least they've said it and they've made it known. The Northerners shouldn't even be too angered by that. They shouldn't even be pushy about it, because, they have a representative from the North in power at the moment, or in office at the moment, because, by my standards, I think power is not authoritarian. It's not dictatorship. I like the fact that the Southern governors are making their claim known. The man also came to say some other things that I didn't quite agree with. He said something like,
that's Mr. Yabaji.
Yeah, Sani. I can call him Mr. Sani because I don't really know what his other names are. So Mr. Sani said he compared the governors of the South to Kanu and Igbo.
Yeah, but we're even yet to get to that bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just this gang up thing I wanted us to talk about.
Okay, so why is it that when the Northern governors converge, it's not a gang up, and when the Southern governors converge, it becomes a gang up? And he also said it's a gang up against the presidency. He said it's a gang up against the president. How do you gang up against the president, against your president? The Northern governors, last to remember, ganged up against, if you were going to use the word gang up, they ganged up against Goodluck Jonathan, and nobody seemed to see anything wrong with it. We were all in this country when, a large percent, close to 70% of the Northern governors defected to the opposition and literally fought against the sitting president. And nobody saw it as an impunity. Nobody saw it as disrespectful. Nobody saw it as anything. By the way, it's supposed to be a democratic it's supposed to be a democratic situation that we're in this country. So I don't know why anybody would want to see it as gang up. For me, I think he was coming from a very petrified point of view, because he seemed pretty scared.
Yeah. And like you said rightly, there's been this thing of a rotational presidency,
Exactly.
For equity.
Exactly.
Policies,
and for once, we're not even saying Southeast presidency now. These governors have sat down together to say a Southern president.
So from anywhere in the South.
So from anywhere in the South. Do you understand? It's a Southern thing right now. So we're now making the language a lot more amicable, a lot more friendlier for people to understand. So it doesn't look like it's one region that everybody hates and you don't want people to come from. Then we're saying South, and then still a problem for them. So where are we really going to in this country at the end of the day?
I think one of them even said like before the South could get the presidency, they have to come and convince the North.
Come and convince. He also said something.
The North we have to benefit from the Southern presidency, and I'm like, these guys talk with a lot of authority.
He also said something. He also said, and bear in mind that the North actually have more population.
They're talking about votes as well.
Sometimes I wonder what makes. Sometimes I wonder.
And those are like subtle threats.
Those are subtle threats, and I wonder what makes Mr. Sani think that the North actually have more population? Do you depend on the census or do you depend on INEC
and there have been
reports?
accusations in terms of those voting, where they have their kids voting, they have their animals voting as
Exactly.
well. So
Underage children
we're talking
voting.
about population, we really don't know.
It's not
because
fact.
You have underage people voting.
It's not
that we're
fact.
seeing
It's just
on
paperwork,
camera,
as far as I'm concerned.
You know, exactly. So those stress don't really count. And
Exactly.
And the southern part, where I have to call the southerners out, we are mostly very nonchalant in the south in terms of elections. Like, people don't really come out. I hope they're really paying attention right now, because in terms of numbers, I think if southerners take it very seriously and they come out to really vote, we can actually they can stand toe to toe with the North.
Firstly, I think why I commended, I started my statement by commending the governors of the South. I think we can have a united front from what I'm beginning to look at, because 2023 is not, by God's grace, not going to be so brutal, but it's going to be a clear-cut situation where we have a group of people uniting for a particular cause. Because right now, if Mr. Sani calls this a gang up by the southern governors against the president, and I'm calling what he is saying, or what the North is saying in general about the southern governors, an attack and an outright open threat to the southerners, and not just southern governors, to the South. Yeah. So this is a big situation we have in our hand, and I think now we need to start calling things for what they really are.
Yeah. And one thing I really liked about these the southern state governors coming together again, it was nothing about political party.
Exactly.
For a long time we have seen how political parties
has torn people apart and all that.
This one, we had APGA governor, we had APC governors, we had PDP governors coming together to agree on something. Exactly. So what I'm going to watch and see right now, I'm going to see how does this affect the political parties right now in terms of choosing, because you have your governors, coming out right now to say this is what we want from this region. So I really want to see how this plays out in the political scene right now as we build up to the next elections. That's what I would just wait to see. So let's just move on to other things I talked about. So another agreement reached by the southern governors was security. And this is what they had to say in that regard. So they resolved that if for any reason security institutions need to undertake an operation in any state within the southern region, the chief security officer, which is the governor of the state, must be duly informed. The forum also frowned at selective criminal administration of justice and resolved that arrests should be made within the ambits of the law and fundamental human rights. So they obviously made this resolution based on the sting operation on Sunday Igboho's residence last week. So reacting again, the coalition of northern groups. It was all northern.
It's always north.
So this is what the coalition of northern groups, in a statement on Tuesday by spokesperson Abdulai Suleiman, he accused the southern state governors of obviously shielding criminals like Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho, who are calling for the breakup of Nigeria. So this is what he said, part of his long statement, so I don't care about the rest. So he said their support for treasonable felony. This is an indictment on the governors, though, and they keep quiet on these things. So he says their support for treasonable felony by the subtle endorsement of the activities of such criminal separatist forces led by the likes of Sunday Igboho and Nnamdi Kanu, by warning the nation's security agencies against operating in the region without obtaining permission from the governor of the particular state, is a matter that must be given the seriousness it deserves. Okay, before we react to what this group had said, like, what do you think about this move by them? Governors taking a stand now, the southern governors taking a stance right now, saying, okay, before you come into our region, to operate in such a way you operated the last time, because lives were lost, in the incident that happened last week. And for all we know, those may have been innocent lives, because we really don't know what happened. And the security agencies will never come to tell us what really went on, So they're saying, inform us. I'm in charge of this state. come and tell me first before you carry out these operations, because I have to be able to explain to my people. We saw what happened in Lagos State. We saw how the Lagos State governor was under serious attack. Till tomorrow, we don't know who gave the order for wherever shooting. They deny that no shooting even happened in Lekki Tollgate. So what do you think about this move? Come to tell the governor. So with this move right now, the governor will not come and tell the people again that we don't know what happened. Yeah.
Firstly, I have a question to ask you.
Yeah, go on.
I'm calling it for what it is, respectfully. Do you think if Pantami were to be an Igbo man, do you think Pantami will still be in office? Do you honestly think, I'm asking you as a Nigerian now?
Well, if he was not an APC governor, maybe.
An APC minister.
Minister, exactly.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now, I'm saying it categorically. I asked you, now I'm answering also. I'm saying it categorically, respectfully. If Dr. Issa Pantami happened to be an Igbo man or from the southern extraction, he'd have been out of office. Kemi Adeosun didn't have NYSC result, and she had to resign.
She left by herself because of her British acumen and stuff.
She had to do that. She had to leave respectfully because she understood that her constant, even though recently we're seeing reports now that she could have actually stayed and nothing would have happened.
There was a federal
there was a federal judgment recently.
Judgment
exactly.
That says
but
she was qualified to be in office, but she did the needful.
Yeah, she did the needful. She had to follow due process.
Exactly.
Because if she hadn't left, she would have set a precedent where people will now go into office without the required. Fine. Now I'm saying this unapologetically that if Issa Pantami happened to be an Igbo man or from the southern extraction, he could have been kicked out. He wouldn't have even left voluntarily. He could have been kicked out by now. Now, I'm also going to say another time I'm commending respectfully. Now I'm beginning to develop some respect for the coalition of southern governors. Yeah. I'm saying the southern governors are taking a stand. The southern governors are beginning to own the South. The southern governors are representing the South positively, and the southern governors are finally doing the job that the southern National Assembly members ought to be doing. This is what they are doing. Do you understand? Yeah. So if the country has refused or has technically grown from a democracy to a dictatorship, and the National Assembly, that are typically what we used to call before now OAS members, would not do the needful, the governors are now doing it on their behalf. Because that was supposed to be the buffer zone. That was supposed to be our only check system. And it's like we lost it overnight. So now the governors are taking a stand and they're owning the South, and I respect them for it. As a matter of fact, give each of them cold beer right now, because this is beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong in what they said. We've had sting attacks. We've had Gestapo attacks on judges, even in the South. We've had attacks on peaceful protesters in the South from executive orders, and southern governors have been fingered in such situations. And southern governors have come out to refute these claims, to rebuff this whole idea, to say, look, I wasn't the one who gave the order. By the way, when people pointed Sanwo-Olu as who gave the order, I was wondering, like, come on, Sanwo-Olu was just an elected representative. He doesn't control the military. So how would they have given that order? But right now,
they are the chief security officers, and I think with this resolution right now, it actually gives them the office of the real chief security officer of the state.
Exactly.
Because before, if you just give them the title and say chief security officer, and you come to my state to operate without the officers, chiefs, even knowledge, then it doesn't make sense. So I think this is them really taking power.
Yes, taking a good stand. Do you also remember the president's interview at the Arise, during the Arise TV interview stuff, where he said he sent 2 southern governors back.
Exactly.
He said, I sent them back to their states because they happen to be the chief security officers of their states. They are supposed to secure their states.
Yeah.
So I think for a first, these governors are taking that stand in their states, and they are choosing to secure their states. And this is a step in the right direction.
And I think the president led them to this.
Yes.
But they are pretending like the nothing was happening.
Exactly.
Because this is what he said he did, and this is what he actually did. And they cannot just sit down there helpless and hopeless. They have to go and assume whatever office that the president has said you are supposed to assume.
Beautiful.
So you told me go and protect my people. They voted for me. I know the arena very well. So it is right for you for me to know what's going on in my state. You can't just come in here and do whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
I need to be able to tell my people, this is what happened, this is what they came to tell me was going to happen, and I approved of this. I think it's really good, this step they have taken.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, though, these are resolutions. It's one thing for you to pass a resolution. They're not really like laws.
Yeah, exactly, they're
so
not laws.
We don't know how valid these things are going to be. And we have a government right now that is very disrespectful towards laws. I don't know how effective. That's my fear in terms of this resolution. I like it. It sounds good, but in terms of practicability, is this going to be practical? Are they really going to come and bow to us to tell us that they're going to do this and this and that? Because the constitution is still very different from what happens here. The powers of the IGPs, of the chief of army staff, and the rest of them, does not really say whatever these resolutions are saying right now, because those people are only answerable to the president, so I'm looking to see what's really going to make them really bow to these laws and submit to these state governors. That's what I'm going to wait to see.
Well, we're all waiting to see that, but I think this was really excellent, because
yes, great,
I also want to thank the president and for the Northern Forum people who say this should be taken very, very importantly. I think they should also realize that the president actually, indirectly pushed for this when he asked those two governors to go back, the two southern governors to go back. And just a week later, he hosted the northern governors who came to have a meeting with him and didn't send them back. So they should know before they start to before they start to point fingers, they should understand where these things came from.
And for people wondering why the northern governors have not taken the same move, we have seen after the president disclosed whatever he did to the southern state governors, how he attended to other northern governors that came to him for the same security issue. Exactly. So let's move to the final resolution that we're going to be addressing. So the southern states governors also agreed that in order to consolidate our democracy and strengthen the electoral process, the Southern Governors Forum rejects the removal of the electronic transmission of election results from the Electoral Act. We're talking about this behind the scene, and what I was basically asking you right now, I'm like, okay, what does this really do for our elections? Does this really help? And does it really do anything? And did they really have any intention for excluding this part? Because when you look at the new Electoral Act, they agreed for electronic voting. Okay. So if you agree for electronic voting, why did you disagree for electronic transmission of the results? So I was trying to look at it practically. Is it that you make people right now vote electronically, then you take out the results and transmit it manually? How? I think it could have been easier to just make everything electronic, but my argument still there. Knowing the kind of government and the corrupt people we have in power in Nigeria, they're very desperate. I feel like they can manipulate anything. Be it whether you want to transmit the election results electronically or manually. I feel like whoever wants to commit crime will commit crime. But you guys have argued earlier that we can also minimize crime as well. And if this is going to minimize rigging of elections, well, maybe. But what do you think about this, in terms of this electronic transmission and the ban on it? Do you think even if they didn't ban it, it could have changed anything in terms of the rigging of elections we have in Nigeria?
Well, it wouldn't have made too much difference, but I think it would have made a statement if, it will make a statement if we have this electronic transmission like we've always had. If you notice, when the Articles legal team went to court after the 2019 election, that was one thing they kept hammering on.
That they said was never existing.
Yeah, exactly. They kept saying, how about the transmitted number of votes, the transmitted records and all that. Yeah. So it helped their argument. So, I think it was right for the governors to also advocate the, the retainment of those, electronic transmission system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why do you think they must have Do you think it was intentional that the lawmakers removed it from the?
Oh yes, I think it was intentional. I think it was intentional. It's a very precarious balance if you look at it. I think it's also with the PIB bill, which we won't be going into, but when if you notice this particular Senate, when they move certain bills, it's, if you look closely at it, like, I don't think since 2019, I don't think we've celebrated for any bill. I don't think as Nigerians we've actually jumped up and clapped and cheered for anything.
And the problem with these bills, most of these bills were actually bills that were supposed to be celebrated. They were bills that Nigerians were waiting for,
exactly,
including the PIB. But it seems within this Senate, they altered some things.
Yeah, they altered some things. They tweak everything and bring it back to us. Exactly.
Back at the bill.
Exactly.
Because I remember the last elections, like we had the former Senate president still crying, like, okay, give us a new electoral act and whatever, because they believe with it going to be free and fair elections in Nigeria. Now they've given us the bill and we're like, no, this is not what we.
Do you also realize that all of these alterations are coming about the same time? They're coming concomitantly with the social media, with the agitation for the social media ban. Because imagine if we had no social media and all of these bills were being thrown at us. We'll be so happy. We'll be celebrating it ignorantly. We'll all say, yes, thank God, the PIB bill has finally been passed. The electoral whatever has finally, only for us to see it's just an empty leaflet that was passed.
Exactly, because people have.
We literally celebrated an empty leaflet.
People can scrutinize right now. They can
exactly
look through right now. But do you think, in terms of rigging, will it be easier to rig when it's manually transmitted?
Imagine how easy it is to rig with the present transmission that we have. Then imagine how it'll be if we don't even have that. It'll be, is there any word that's actually way like better than, or more worse than easy? Better than easy.
But the thing though,
it'll be seamless. Like rigging will be seamless.
Let's imagine an election day right now. You're voting at your polling unit.
Okay.
We vote electronically.
Yes.
Wherever the results are at this point in time, are they not going to collate it and let every party agent know? Is there not supposed to be a record where, as a PDP agent, I can be like, okay, here we have counted 400 votes. And it's on record for everybody in such a way that it cannot be manipulated. That even if it is manipulated along the transmission line of the results, whether manually or electronically, is that going to change anything? Because I feel like with that case, we will easily have a case to take to a tribunal or to court or wherever, because we all have the clear figures at this point in time. So you're not counting ballots right now. You're not carrying papers to go and manipulate. We have collated the votes that were voted, that were entered electronically, So with that argument still, does it really matter how the vote is going to be transmitted?
I think it does matter. It does matter. Yes, it does matter.
Right.
Because if we've collated everything we want to do right here, and you need to understand that what we're trying to stop the system. We're trying to make better the system where we have to go to court after every election. So if we've actually collated the results and every party agent has gotten a copy of that particular result, and when it gets to the national level, we start having all of these conflicts in numbers and all that. It's still going to result in a court situation. So I think it's a lot better if before transmitting or transferring these results electronically, we check at the collation sites that they tally with what the agents have.
Yes.
That'll be best.
Yes. And I was watching the last US elections, and we could just see on live TV how, okay, in this state, these are the numbers. Can't we have that kind of system where everything is just updated in real
time?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
you can see them where they're collating, whatever. We can see the numbers going and updates coming in on TV as well.
A particular northern lawmaker said it is a ploy by the southern, the southern enlightened people to rig the system not rig the system, to disenfranchise the not too technologically savvy northern population. Because they say, since we already know in the south, electronical, savviness is actually something in the South. People are easily, people can easily manipulate their phones and all that.
Savvy,
exactly. Unlike the North. So if you allow that kind of system to come in, then you'll practically disenfranchise a lot of the Northern, demographic.
I was talking to you guys last week, so you guys actually agreed, because I was like, okay, everybody has access to phones and internet, and you guys
exactly.
No. You guys no,
exactly,
really.
yeah.
Exactly.
That's what people will typically say, that people have phones and all that.
I feel
but the idea is if the idea behind the free and fair election is looking at it. I mean, looking at it critically, the idea between a free and fair election is not just being able to call the actual numbers of voters, but being able to get everybody in the country to vote. Okay. That's what a free and fair election is. Your ability to, give everybody their right to vote.
Right to vote.
Exactly, and have them actually vote. That's what a free and fair election actually is. It's not just about the secondary, about having the right numbers announced and all that. No. So if you actually do that, I think I reckoned with what the northern senator who opposed that bill was trying to say. So until we get to a point where everybody can, be properly educated. But now this also brings me to another point again. I think sometimes, respectfully, the northern elders fight the wrong fight a lot. They fight the wrong fight.
Also,
if by now in 2021, my brother, this is not the Stone Age. If by 2021 they have not been able to sponsor people, and I said I was also going to talk about this. The northern elders are always talking about unifying the country. I mean, always talk, unifying the country. They said, Mr. Sani also accused the southern governors of tearing the country apart, that they are not making statements that will typically unify this country in arguments. But my point is, if you talk so much about unifying the country, I don't think the northerners want unity as much as the southerners. The only thing the southerners are saying is, we will not unite on the grounds of poverty or violence. Violence will never unite us.
Yes.
What's it called? Southerners will never unite this country, or will never agree to a one Nigeria on the grounds of terrorism or people walking into our farms or our properties and killing us and maiming us, or having to, serve the people a lot of poverty, like we're saying in this administration, and say, now we are going to be united. Who does that? We're not going to. We're always going to speak of as Southerners. This is how we are. We're from the South. We will always say it the way it is.
Yes.
So if you really want a united Nigeria, then there is a lot of things you need to do. First of all, the money that you loot and you take and you buy Benz and all those things they spend in the North, allegedly. Allegedly. Yes.
Allegedly.
All that money they used to buy Benz and build houses in all this Metama and Asokora. If you can take half of that, spare half of that, and look at the poor demography in the North. Look at the number of homeless people in the North. Look at the number of people who come to beg you during Salah for food. And see how you can at least educate them on tech. Like, my phone, the last 2 times my phone went bad, it was actually fixed by northerners. And I was really, really impressed. This is something that used to be, almost the exclusive right of, Igbo people, Southeasterners, fixing things, electronics and all that. But the last 2 times my phone went bad, it was actually fixed by northerners. I was very impressed. But then I also asked myself a question. Is this being replicated in other northern states, or is it just in the FCT? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I think if these things like this could be encouraged, imagine if our grandmothers in the thick interlands in, say, Katsina State can now operate mobile phones. Then they'll be able to vote electronically.
Yeah, but there's still that argument or a perception or a speculation or a presumption or something we have come to observe that there's an intentional...
Yes, that's why I said it. I said the South will never agree to a united Nigeria on the grounds of poverty.
Exactly,
we will never agree on the grounds of poverty or violence. It has to be an amicable thing.
I think, like Henry has said many times, until these people that are being oppressed realize that they are being oppressed, realize that they are being used and capitalized on for selfish purposes, we will continue to remain where we are, or they will continue to remain where they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, by my standards, I think if you can operate a bank account in Nigeria, you have every reason to be able to vote electronically. There's no two way about it. If you can actually go to a POS and type in, if you can go to a POS and punch in Like you can literally hold that thing and punch in, and while you're punching in, you're actually seeing your numbers get imputed. You're programming your PIN. I think you can actually vote electronically.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our next topic, but it's still on election matters though. So a civil rights organization, YIAGA Africa, has suggested that in order to reduce and completely stop the rigging of elections in Nigeria, politicians and political party agents should be made to take oaths, not to give bribes or buy votes during the elections. It also hailed the proposed oath-taking for officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission, that's INEC, and security agencies, which is contained in the Electoral Act 2010 Amendment Bill, slated for consideration and adoption by the Senate and House of Representatives. The executive director of YIAGA Africa, Samson Itodo, made a call. So you know the guy.
Oh, I know him.
On Wednesday. So he also urged the National Assembly to use the opportunity, I like this part here, for deliberation on the bill to fix the flaws in the electoral process of the country before the 2023 general elections. So, taking of oaths by party agents and politicians. Okay, I was reading some of the comments on when we did this post on Facebook. Yeah, some of the comments were very funny, but I agree with some of those comments. Okay, I didn't like some of the comments because some of them tried to downplay God. I saw people saying like, okay, except the politicians and party agents are going to swear by Shango and God of Thunder or whatever, we should forget about it. You know, somebody said if they're going to swear by the Bible or Quran, forget about it. So they're saying except they're going to take one oath. You know, so we're going back to the roots of our forefathers of those age times where you don't joke with those gods. You know, I don't know. It's like we've seen the real God and finished now.
I do not think that's. I do not think that's what YIAGA Africa.
That's not what I was talking about. Yeah, so he meant like them taking no more oath, like
just like every politician.
Yeah, so these were like reactions. So those were Nigerians saying basically that forget oath taking. Because they were like, okay, the normal governors, they're still money allegedly. And
I think something Itodo, YIAGA Africa made a very good point. But at the same time, there's a but with. First of all, I mean, it's a time we're in economic and political turmoil right now in Nigeria, so everybody wants to come with an idea. So that was a good one. But at the same time, I think it was more fundamental than practical. You need to look at things the way things are in this country. The politicians that we claim to be our problems, they take oaths. They take oath upon oath. In fact, they take oath in terms.
That's what I'm saying.
First tenure, they take oaths. The second term in office, they take oaths. In fact, some of them are used to taking oaths.
Exactly.
They take oaths. They go to the church. They even take communion per week. The oath is once in 4 years. They go to the church every Sunday and take communion. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Communion is weekly. Oath is once in 4 years. And these people still are corrupt.
We're still where we are.
We're still where we are. So having agents, having polling unit, presiding officers, and everything, everybody take oaths. In fact, as a Nigerian, I think
during the presidential elections, like the presidential candidates sign peace accord, you know, they come and they agree to all these things. That's where these Nigerians were reacting to say, oh, this is a waste of our time. Okay, somebody suggested as well, in part of the comments I read as well, because I tried to read these comments to get some insight, you know, and he said, except there's going to be serious penalties, you know, strict penalties for politicians or party agents caught rigging elections, forget oath taking. Put penalties. Exactly. So I think penalties would do a better job than just saying come to take oath. They don't mind.
Oath taking will just make it a normal, statutory system where you come in and take oath before office and all that.
And commit all the crimes. They don't care.
Exactly.
So that's why when you said maybe he meant good, but to me this was not really effective for the people that we have in this country. Let's move on. So the House of Assembly in Lagos State on Monday passed an amended version of the criminal justice law of the state, stopping police officers and other security agencies from parading criminal suspects before the media until they are convicted by a court of competent jurisdiction. The bill was passed through voice votes conducted by the Deputy Speaker of the House, Honorable Wasiu Eshilokun Sani. Onoda Sani, who presided over the plenary session. So a subsection of the bill also barred the police or any other agency, security agency, from arresting a person in lieu of another person in a criminal matter. This is just for Lagos State, but I think it's a step in the right direction because we are used to seeing suspects, because our constitution gives you a presumption of innocence, but most times, especially in this age of social media, once your picture is put as a suspect right now, your image is somewhat tainted for life. Yeah. Because by the time you even get a verdict of not guilty, nobody knows, nobody cares again. Charlemagne the God always says that who cares about good news or who cares about the truth? When a lie is more interesting. And the lie is more interesting. So I love what the House of Assembly in Lagos State did with this one. Then this thing about arresting somebody in lieu of the other person. They come to your house, they're looking for a criminal, they don't find you, they take your father or take your mother. That's that crap. Probably may not even know anything about wherever you must.
And you know what, people? Yeah. I think it's so wrong because. Like I always say, every adult above the age of 21 is a rational being and rational thinker. Why would you come and arrest me for the crime of my brother?
Exactly.
That's infringing on my human rights. It's so wrong. Like it's so wrong.
Yeah.
Do you commend my brother for my religious positive acts?
Yeah, exactly.
When I go out and I do great deeds and I'm a very renowned philanthropist, do you tell my brother thank you for it?
Yeah.
But when my brother goes out and does something wrong, you want to now arrest me for it? It is so wrong.
Yeah, and most times you even find them posting the pictures of these people they arrested in lieu, so this is not even the criminal.
These are not the criminals.
Posting my picture that you arrested
just because you couldn't find my brother.
Instead of my brother, you are
I'm even saying brother, that's going too far. They arrest people's friends.
Exactly.
They arrest friends in lieu of other people, and that's so wrong. Yeah, I think that's infringing on people's human rights. The legal system should be able to look into that. That's so wrong. That's very, very wrong.
I like this. I hope other...
yes, and posting... And even when you catch, suspects and you want to start parading them before you even, I think it's also very wrong, especially with the cases of, the EFCC, with the case of, advanced fee fraud that's trending right now. You catch somebody and before you know, you put, I don't know when EFCC started that. That used to be an American thing where you see people, you hold them with you take mock shots of people and have them hold their numbers. Yeah. This one, they carry one big ugly board and write their names and EFCC on top of everything.
I never see them doing these things for the politicians.
Yeah, they don't do this for the politicians.
These young boys.
They don't do this for the politicians.
Internet fraud there. They'll write whatever there and give you the big butt.
The INEC commissioner who's been released recently, who's been granted bail, 200 million naira bail.
The JAMB, no.
Was that JAMB? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
the JAMB registrar has been granted 200.
Exactly.
When they arrested him, they didn't give him any big board to hold. I didn't see him hold any big board. This country,
justice,
until the rich starts to suffer as bad as the poor for their crimes, when the poor suffer for their crime, I think that's when this country will actually get better.
I like this move in terms of equality. I think this makes everybody equal, and I see this bill as a bill for the people because, like we just stated earlier, the rich people were not experiencing this.
Why is it so easy why is it so easy for our representatives to actually pass bad bills when they actually can pass positive bills like this?
I don't know. I always wonder. This is even on the state level. This should be on the federal level.
This should be on the federal level.
This should be on the federal level. I think this should be stopped because there's still a presumption of innocence in our constitution. And the constitution is still grown now. So anybody doing anything that is not in line of what the constitution has said is supposed to be very illegal. Very, very null, void, and illegal. So kudos to the Lagos State House of Assembly. So I hope that goes through well. So on our final topic for today, President Muhammadu Buhari has made history yet again. Yes.
Viva la Presidente!
So President Muhammadu Buhari has made history again on Thursday. So for the first time in the history of Nigeria's democracy, a terrorist group elected a state governor and appointed other officials.
Is that why I was clapping?
It's the first time. You thought it was good.
That was an actual achievement.
This is an achievement for the government now.
I hope you don't get into trouble for
No,
this.
they're broken. This history now. This is historic. This does not happen under
So
any
is
president.
that guy going to be incorporated into the Northern Governors Forum?
No, because let me finish reading what I'm reading here. So, a statement by Femi Fan. Oh, that's an interesting question. I didn't hear your question.
Oh.
Just.
Finish
Northern Governors
finish reading now,
Forum.
ask.
Yeah, so a statement by Femi Fani Kayode on Facebook revealed. So, these were said on a quote. So, he said, ISWAP. Yeah, that's the Islamic State
West
Africa province.
Yada.
Exactly. Has successfully conducted a gubernatorial election and sworn in Abba Kaka as the governor of Borno State.
What a strong name.
Yeah.
Abba
yeah,
Kaka.
Abba Kaka
Brazilian
will work with Baba Issa, who will serve as chief revenue collector from farmers and fishermen.
Not even vice president, not even deputy governor.
No, collect.
Talk to me.
Collect money now. You know.
Talk to me.
Collect money. Well, so also appointed was Abubakar Dan Buduma
Let's go.
as chief commander. Timbuktu region. Timbuktu.
That's Mali. Yeah.
But here, this one will be
Oh, this is where? What state?
Borno State.
Let's go.
Yeah. So then also Ibn Umar as chief justice.
Actually,
There were other appointees. I don't care.
Is it IBN?
Yeah, IBN.
It's pronounced in Islam.
Not Ibn.
It's pronounced in.
Okay, so in Umar. Yeah, IBN. In Umar is going to be the chief judge, the chief justice of the state. Of Borno State. So he went on to say that Borno State now has two governors. So we have Governor Babagana, Professor Babagana Zulum.
Really?
So
He's a prof?
Yeah, it's a prof. Yeah, it's a prof.
Shout out to Babagana Zulum.
So I don't know how they're going to share
I think
this
it was a
one
prof.
right now. You say you thought
me.
this was not historic. This is historic. Historic could be good or bad. This is history in the making. We have never, under this democracy since 1999, gotten this bad. And when I saw this news, all I could think about are people like, I'm not endorsing people like Nnamdi Kanu or any other person creating violence or whatever. But I just look at the attention that has been paid to such people. Okay, let's even look at Sunday Igboho. There was a sting operation and whatever.
Why don't you want to look at Nnamdi Kanu? You think it's safer to look at Sunday Igboho?
I think it's safer. I think it's a safer comparison for what I want to do. Because he's somebody that we have not really seen him take part in anything violent. Okay. There's no really evidence apart from what they claim that he has done.
Is there evidence that Nnamdi Kanu has taken part in violent things?
Those tweets and those live broadcasts.
Okay, the tweets and the live broadcast.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are.
Okay.
We don't have such from Sunday. Sunday is just calling for a Yoruba nation, and fighting for the security of the people from those headsmen that, So I was thinking that, there's so much attention paid to those people. There was a sting operation on this guy. Meanwhile, in your backyard, there is
an opposition.
An election.
There's an election going on with a full cabinet.
A terrorist organization.
With a full cabinet.
Exactly.
They have the legislative.
Exactly. They have legislative.
Judiciary.
They have other appointees. They even have tax collector.
Abba Kaka.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, is this government saying? And they have not commented on this matter. They have kept short.
The Islamic State West Africa are saying they wanted, was that before or after Shekau? One said that they were trying to create an Islamic country in the northern part of Nigeria.
Wow.
And it was between a few states. So apparently that is beginning to materialize with them setting up a parallel government in Borno State.
Yeah.
These are issues that I expect the Northern Governors Forum to be taken very seriously. Not the Southern Governors Converge on something. That's baloney as far as I'm see. What they should have been taking seriously is Professor Zulum having a competition right behind him, at his backyard.
And that's their fellow governor expected.
So now is this
reaction to this one? No
reaction. very soon, if this is not even comedy, this is really serious. If Northern Governors Forum are going to be sitting, they should be very careful they should really, really watch out for their security. Because, I mean, if Abba Kaka considers himself a governor, he will probably require or request to have a place amongst the Northern Governors Forum. And when they don't include him, then they probably will start being, they probably will start experiencing
like
things.
you said, this is like the beginning of something, because
This is the beginning of something big.
Something big happens, something small happens. And when you don't pay attention to that small thing that's happened,
It's a domino effect, and it goes from one thing,
If they could go, like I
I
said, we have never said, we must have laughed at the beginning. I call this historical. That's me saying, government, pay attention. We have never seen this happen.
Remember, I said something a few episodes back. I said, Shekau, after Shekau. Before Shekau, we have people. Now we have Shekau. After Shekau, we're going to have. Now, this is what we're having. This is now, take the political appointment away from these people. This is another this is a militant a militant setting, coming out of a militant setting. Now they're setting up their own government. And for him to appoint people like Kaka, Abba Kaka, in something, and the rest of them, these are like top-notch members amongst ISWAP. They're not just ordinary, OES members. These are top members. So imagine, these are like, after Shekau, we're now having like multiple Shekaus. Because they're all going to play their part. Exactly. The judicial, chief justice or chief judge is going to play his own part.
And we thought the death of Shekau was going to be the end of the whole thing, but this group is
that is what
their metamorphosis.
See, that is what a militant group, that's what an actual terrorist group is about. It's not where you catch one terrorist leader and everybody stays quiet for one thing. This is what terrorism. This is how it is
springing up.
Exactly. So it's not just about catching one. It's about bringing it to a standstill. It might be a gradual process, but they need to tackle this.
I feel like they need to pay attention, just like we have said. I've not seen any reaction to this, the way I saw reactions to the meeting by the Southern governors. I'm not seeing reactions to this, like I saw reactions to the arrest of Sunday. The arrest of Nnamdi Kanu. I'm not seeing reactions to this the way I'm seeing reactions to those that were against the sting operation on Sunday Igbo's residence. So I don't know whether Northerners are comfortable with this one. I don't know whether you heard as well this week, where the bandits that kidnapped Bethel Baptist school students
were asking for food
in Kaduna State. Not just asking for food. There was a long specific list of what they needed. 20 bags of foreign rice, 10 bags of this, 10 bags of whatever, and they brought 9 bags to them. They chased them away with the 9 bags.
And Gumi prays for them. Gumi preaches to them. Gumi literally administers, the gospel to these people.
I know that somebody's taking these bags of rice or whatever to those people, though.
Probably some of them allegedly. I won't even say it.
Anyway, I don't know. Is there any other thing you want to talk about? Me, I'm done for today.
I'm done for today.
Any other thing? There's nothing really much that came up this week. I think the most interesting thing that came up this week was just this Southern States Governors meeting. I don't care about Lauretta Onochie, whether she's denying that she's an APC member or she's not an APC member. But I just think it's a shame that...
I also think that's completely wrong.
I think it's a shame that they are going all out to still make this lady an INEC commissioner.
It's a shame.
It's very crazy.
It's just
even
one
if
of the most
she
shameless
denies she's
things
an
they've
APC member, you are a presidential aide. You are attached to the
Do
president.
you rely on just denial, just mere vocal denial?
Exactly. You are attached to the political... I think we should start making very strict laws. If we had a law that says, okay, a member, whether a past member or a current member of a political party cannot be affiliated with the Independent National Electoral Commission. Come on, man.
Let me just
INEC is supposed to be a very sacred
Let me
institution.
just give you a lowdown on how it's done in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Do you know that the FA look into every FA referee, every Premier League referee's history? If your boyhood club, if you were a boyhood supporter of Liverpool, you cannot officiate in the Premier League. You cannot.
We start making laws.
And even if they come to discover this years later, maybe by a picture or by you in a stadium shouting, you will be stripped of that. But now you will not be stripped of your position as a referee. What they will do is they will make you a championship referee, they'll send you to the lower division to go and ref. If you used to support a team in the lower division, they will bring you to the Premier League to come and ref. Why? Because they're trying to, foster neutrality.
We need.
So this is how the system is supposed to be.
A commission, an agency like INEC. We can't
typically, if they've ever seen you shout APC change or PDP, you should never be an INEC official. You shouldn't even work in INEC.
Yeah, and I think even if you based on the laxity of the laws, so to say,
or maybe just because Pantami outgrew Pantami grew up from when he used to chant hail the Al-Qaeda and the rest of them. He said he grew.
And
he was a child and he said that, so now he's grown. So maybe Lauretta Onochie is grown too. She used to be a position when she was younger. Now she's no longer a position.
APC government or whatever. So even if you're going to be a government that lacks integrity, I think you should still do it with some
decorum.
Exactly. If you wanted to put somebody from your party there, don't pick the most obvious controversial one and just go and put there.
Mr. Sal is teaching you how to. Mr. Sal is trying to teach you how to be crooked. Mr. Sal is trying to teach you how to be crooked. So
anyway, please, we've come to the end of this episode. Thank you, Mr. Houston, for joining.
Thank you, Mr. Sal, for having me.
Please subscribe to Page 36 TV on YouTube. Thank you to everyone that subscribed already. Thank you to everybody that watches already. Like, comment, share, and we'll see you guys next week. Cheers.